you playing?
Hello and welcome to the first annual Bleepies.
Ta-da!
Where we, as professionals, give out awards for the year's best of the best.
Keep in mind, professionals are in quotation points that are like 48 point.
There's big old quotation marks all over there. So,
Let's be honest, we're about as qualified as the Oscars voting board, right?
No, we're more qualified than those bastards.
So, a lot of this is I do love award shows. I'm a huge award show person. If you've watched any of our coverage of the Game Awards, you know that I love award shows. It scratches something at the back of my brain that I just really like.
Oh, shit, Mason, who'd you get for the live performance?
But we initially were going to kind of separate this out and do like our top fives of this of the year and this. And I just thought it might be better just of us to kind of pick out a few categories and kind of our own little award show, the Bleepies.
This is a lot more fun than just...
I think it'll be a lot more fun.
As much as I love doing the lists, this is fun. This is really fun.
It's a nice variety.
Yes,
so.
it's a nice way to frame it.
So we're going to do that. We have 6 categories we're going to cover here today. And tell you what we liked about the year 2023. In a few other things in the media that we are consuming here and talking about. Anything from TV show, video games, or movies is what mostly are going to qualify. Mm-hmm. Technically, if there was a moment, a soundtrack or whatever, anything that was from a YouTube video, that would have counted as well. We had no problem with that, but I don't think any of us went down that road.
I mean, I didn't think that.
I was going to say, I didn't exactly think like, oh, what moment from a book in 2023 really shook you to the core.
And because we are more of a visual media podcast that we like to talk about things that we put in our eyes.
I'm kidding.
But without further ado, let's begin the Bleepies. Our first category for the night, Best Soundtrack. Now, we've talked a lot about soundtracks on this podcast. We've had multiple top fives. A soundtrack can really change a movie or a game. It can take a mediocre game and it can bump it up, or it takes that really good one and it puts it another level of why I want to rewatch or why I want to replay, because I want to be in that moment and hearing that, sometimes that big orchestral score. Maybe it's those quieter moments, those simple things, the simple, maybe the little strings you hear. Soundtrack is so important. So, with that, Mason, who are you giving the Bleepie of 2023 to for Best Soundtrack?
I don't usually watch musicals that much. I'm not a musical guy. It's just not my thing. But when I do watch musicals, there has to be a perfect balance of cheese and genuine emotion for me to enjoy them. It's a tough balancing act to perform, but this movie nails it in spades, and a big proponent of that, for me, is the soundtrack, which I listened to immediately after watching the movie for the first time, something that I never do, and I haven't been able to get it out of my head since. The Bleepie goes to, for Best Soundtrack, Wonka.
Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination.
Who would have thought that at the beginning of the year? Who would have thought that at the beginning of the year?
Legit,
Right.
not to self-plug, but my Letterboxd review for Wonka is literally, what the fuck, this wasn't supposed to be good.
Who did the soundtrack for it?
Oh, that's a good question. I should have looked that up. I apologize.
No problem.
Now,
I'm unfortunately in the
actually
minority here. I have not watched Wonka yet.
Yes, it's
It is
only been
something
out for a
need-
couple of weeks.
It's
as
something
of
I
this
really
recording,
want to
so-
catch because I think of the group, I was the one that was like, look, it may not be great, but it's the guy from Paddington and Willy Wonka. There's a lot of stuff we could tell.
I was going to say, ironically,
good.
the people who were looking forward to it the least, me and Mason, were the ones who watched it the first and were like, what the fuck, it's good.
So the soundtrack, it was done by Joby Talbot and Neil Hannon.
Awesome. Well, congrats to them. They now have the prestigious award of a Bleepie on their shelf. On their metaphorical fictional shelf.
Legitimately, after I watched this movie, I was walking around work all the time singing the music to myself because it gets in your head. It's crazy.
A good soundtrack can do that. it's not my pick because I haven't actually watched this movie, but a mid-budget Bible movie just came out called Journey to Bethlehem, and there's a song in there called "In My Blood," and it's been in my fucking head for like days.
You hear it and you don't stop humming it. It is incredible. I agree on that one. And I actually want to watch the movie now because of that song.
I know, right?
And I've seen a lot of criticism for the Wonka soundtrack online, specifically TikTok, and specifically from theater people.
Oh my, who would have ever thought that would happen?
Oh, TikTok has a bad take? What a shock.
Directed mainly at Timothée Chalamet's singing. And on a level, I get it. It's not exactly like a vocal showcase for Timothée Chalamet, but it doesn't have to be that. Mm-hmm. It pulls the right emotions at the right amount that it needs to. Like
awesome.
It's like a symphony of like emotions, like getting the right emotions at the right time, and I mean, so good.
Look, people can talk shit about Timothée Chalamet's performance all they want, but for me, his rendition of Pure Imagination is genuine fucking like magic.
It's so good.
I would never ever talk shit on Timothée Chalamet. I have to support my scrawny brothers anyway.
I think personally, my favorite track from it though is You've Never Had Chocolate Like This. That's the one that I've been singing
that is a really good one.
It's so good.
Alrighty. Well, our first bleepy given out. Thomas, do you have a bleepy for soundtrack to give out?
Why, yes, I do. Similar to Mason, let's put it this way. I don't really analyze soundtracks that much. So most of the time when I recognize a soundtrack is good, it's because someone came up to me and said, "This soundtrack's good, you dumb shit." Played a portion of it, and I'm like, "Oh, damn, yeah, that is fire." And several movies this year have done that. Several movies I have been like, "Oh, this soundtrack's really good," but I don't think about it. Only one have I had the experience of, "Yo, dipshit, this soundtrack's really good," and I listened to a little bit of it, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it is." And that is Across the Spider-Verse's soundtrack by Daniel Pemberton.
Daniel Pemberton is a guy who is getting more and more recognition. Like, he has done some great soundtracks. Obviously, the Spider-Verse movies, but the King Arthur Legend of the Sword movie is also him. That soundtrack honestly, is so good.
That one honestly bangs too. But this one specifically, I believe it's a track called like Into the Vortex, Into the Portal or whatever. And I listened to that, I'm like, oh fuck!
Whoa,
like you kind of blank out for a second because it's so good, and you just listen to it, and you're like in a different plane.
It hits all of those moments perfectly. It makes some of those big moments in the movie, you feel them more because the soundtrack. It's very similar to the first movie that What's Up Danger did for that scene.
Yes.
But this time they did a lot more with the orchestral score with it that made it feel just massive in parts.
I don't think any, just for personal sake, because I also prefer songs with lyrics kind of thing, I don't think any moment quite reaches What's Up Danger, but What's Up Danger is also genuinely one of the best moments of cinema in the past, like, decade.
Yes.
So, big high bar to reach.
Right, so.
Awesome. Well, our second bleepy has been given out. I have a third one for soundtrack to give out. I think coming into this year, there were a lot of things that I circled as potentially great soundtracks. And there are things that were great soundtracks. But I actually decided to give the award out to something that really surprised me from a composer who I haven't always been the kindest to online. And that is the Ahsoka soundtrack by Kevin been like John Williams light. Like, yeah, you're just doing a John Williams. He did the
it's
Clone Wars.
diet
He
John Williams.
did the Rebel soundtrack, and it's always just kind of feels like, yeah, you're trying to be John Williams. We get it. And it's not that he ever did like awful. It just was always kind of, yeah, that's good. That's fine.
It's like he's the guy that J.J. Abrams would try to get to emulate John Williams.
The entirety of the and he hasn't necessarily been doing the TV shows like the live action ones. They've actually gone out. Ludwig Göransson did The Mandalorian. I don't remember who did Boba Fett. Someone else did Andor. They've gone and got like big composers for it. Mm-hmm. Kiner did Ahsoka, and I that thought was like, oh gosh, that means soundtrack is so important to Star Wars.
Yeah.
And my God, from episode 1 to the final episode, nearly every track is just a banger. It is an incredible soundtrack with an incredible ending score of every episode. Props to you, Mr. Kiner. I didn't think you had it in you. And that's why this year you get the Bleepy for Best Soundtrack.
We know you're listening out there, and we know you must be very excited.
Very excited to receive this award. So, our second category of the night. Best Performance. A performance can really elevate things. And sometimes take a bad property and make it decent. There are multiple movies and games that I have played or watched and will go back to because one performance is so good. But is one of those going to be the best performance from this year? Or are we going to have something that maybe has more all-around performances? Well, Thomas, let us know what the best performance. What are you giving the Bleepy to?
Oh, what the fuck? So, performances can be a lot of things. They can be something that you just go, oh, that dude's badass, or oh, that dude really nails it. Or it can be something that just hits you to your core. And for me, that's what my favorite performance of the year did. It just rocked me to my core. For reasons that I will go into after I reveal him. Because the Bleepy, and I apologize if I butcher this name, just being out there. Ryunosuke Kamiki as Koichi Shikishima from Godzilla -1.
I almost went with him. He is incredible.
He's really good in the movie.
What really nailed it, like a lot of these have, they've altered. A lot of these have altered on my list. He has never altered. He has always been there. And what sealed the deal for me was when I'm watching Godzilla -1. It's two scenes, actually. It's the scene where he just starts breaking and he's like, I'm dead. He's like, I've died on that island. Godzilla killed me. This is just the final thoughts of a dead man, and he just breaks. That hurt me in the theater because
a heavy scene.
Bit of a personal thing. I get those thoughts sometimes because I have had several near-death experiences. It's the same reason why Puss in Boots and the Last Wish was my favorite movie of 2022, because it hit me to my core. And the second moment that really sealed the deal of, no, this is the best performance of the year, is right after Godzilla's attack. Like, right after Godzilla's second attack, his wife gets blown away by the explosion, and he just falls to his knees, sees Godzilla, and starts screaming. Just screaming, because that's all he can do. And it's like, shit.
It is rare in a Godzilla film. I can probably count on one hand how many times that I have gone back and wanted to watch a movie, not because of to watch the Godzilla or the destruction, because the performances and the humans are so good. And -1, and he is the one that leads the way. Like, there are a lot of great performances in that movie.
Oh, there are so many.
He is so good, and you feel everything that he feels, which is so hard to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's so good. Then you can tell it's good because his wife survives, and every logical part of my brain is screaming, bullshit. She is smeared on the pavement, but I don't care because his
he
performance
deserves a happy ending.
He deserves a happy goddamn ending.
That's exactly was my feeling as well at the end. I was like, I do not care how realistic this is. This man deserves this, and he gets it. He gets it.
Yes.
There was genuinely to the point where Godzilla -1, I didn't know how it was going to end. I didn't know if he was going to kill himself or not. Spoilers for Godzilla -1. I didn't know if he was going to sacrifice himself. And genuinely, I was like, if he sacrifices himself and dies, this movie goes into like 1. This movie will fucking suck. But no, he survives, and it's possibly the heartwarm ending of the year for, a fucking Godzilla movie. Feel-good ending of the year.
Yeah. I'll give the next Bleepy out.
All right.
For best performance, I'm also going to the country of Japan for my performance.
Yeah, I kind of know what it is, but
So, at the recording of this episode, a anime just wrapped up its season 2.
I don't know what it is.
So, I'm a big Jujutsu Kaisen fan. I love this show. I love the manga. It scratches every shonen itch that my stupid little brain loves. But this specific season of it covers what is called the Shibuya arc, and it is just gut punch after gut punch. Well, the main character, who is Yuji Itadori, played by Junya Inoki. And specifically why he wins this Bleepy is there's a scene where our main character is kind of possessed by basically one of the most powerful things that has ever existed, the most powerful monster. I'm not going to get into all the details of Jujutsu Kaisen. We'd be here for days. But more or less, he has an evil being inside of him that took control of him and then wiped out millions. Wiped out half a city. And then basically returns his body and basically says, I'll talk to you later. And the voice actor, Junya Inoki, literally on the set while recording this, has a real breakdown on the set, like on the ground, screaming and pounding, and the performance is so surreal and incredible. In the same way that I say with Thomas's choice, you feel that emotion. You feel that this person literally has been trying to do nothing but good, thinking they're doing good by taking on this evil entity. And then watch that they're trying to take bad guys out, and he's going to keep trying to do that. The amount of people they've killed will not probably ever equal what he just did. And he is broken. And it is one of the most amazing, gut-wrenching performances. And the voice actor brings absolutely everything out of it. So, Junya Inoki, congrats. You have won a Bleepy.
Wow. Well, now I feel this is interesting because my entry is like the complete 180 of both. Of
good.
That's what the magic of this award show is.
We have decided to press Mason. Bring us out of it.
All right. Yeah. This is the complete opposite of your guys' entry. So, every once in a while, mostly in kids' movies, an actor takes on a role that many others would have considered beneath them and completely makes it their own. I don't think anyone else could have brought the type of balls-to-the-wall energy this character has while not taking a single thing away from their performance. The Bleepy for Best Performance goes to Ryan Gosling as Ken in Barbie.
'Cause I'm just Ken, anywhere else I'd be a 10. Is it my destiny to live and die a life of blonde fragility? I'm just Ken, where I see love, she sees a friend. What will it take for her to see the man behind the 10 and fight for me?
I love it. Considering that I'm Just Ken is like my 4th most played song this year, I love it. I love it.
It's just the amount of energy that he brings. Like this is Ryan Gosling. Remember, like he is a very high caliber actor. This is a role that somebody like him should consider beneath him, and he just fully dives into it. And
made it his own.
It made it absolutely made it his own.
There are so many behind the scenes where he worked with the director, and that they also fought Warner Brothers and Mattel a couple of times over, no, we're doing this, and
that's I think really what sold it for me, because I was already like really sold on his performance watching the movie. Then when I watched like some of the behind the scenes stuff and the blooper reels and like the thing that he just did recently, the Ken EP with like the Christmas version of it,
yeah.
like all of that, I was just like, I'm sold. Like he is fully embodied this performance in a way that any other actor would have been like, Ken from Barbie, all right, okay, and they would have completely phoned it in. And Ryan Gosling has done the complete and total opposite of phoning it in.
Yeah. It's weird that in a movie entirely devoted to female empowerment that I came away loving Ryan Gosling the absolute most.
Yeah. He all but steals that movie for me.
Yeah, he really does.
I haven't watched Barbie.
Yeah. Yep.
You brought that up earlier, and I was like, oh, man.
I skipped Barbenheimer. I skipped both of them. I'm sorry. I just didn't find the time. I didn't have the energy. I worked at a movie theater at that point, and everyone who went to Barbie, I wanted to kill. So
that happens in the summer a lot. That happens. There have been multiple movies in my life that I did not go to, or because I didn't get a chance to watch it beforehand. Then the people that go to it, I'm like, nope, I am now turned off from this movie for quite a while because of the people that went to it.
And I'm sure when I watch Barbie, it will be fine, but I have not yet.
Well, we've now passed out 6 Bleepies. Wow. All right. Who's ready for another one?
Yes, another one.
So our third Bleepie that we're going to pass out.
We're just doing 2.
Our third Bleepie kind of goes hand in hand a bit with performance. And that's best character. This could be a new character, something that we've just discovered this year, or maybe it's someone returning for in a role that they've done many times, or it's a character we've seen many times that someone else has inhabited. But we're going to jump right into the best character here. And I'll lead off by give off the Bleepie this time. My best character, look... Thomas just broke me. I apologize.
I'm gonna feel like a real asshole if it's not, but
you don't need to. You are correct.
Yeah, boy.
My Bleepie goes best character Clive, Final Fantasy 16.
I feel like a dick. Honestly.
No, you're fine. You are perfectly fine. For anyone
just by the, it's like, yeah, you already know.
Here it is. I'm starting to wind up and say things, and I just watched Thomas whisper to Mason, it's Final Fantasy 16. And you know what? There's no better way to introduce it. Yes, it's Clive from Final Fantasy 16.
It should have been you! Why didn't the Phoenix choose you?
She was every waking moment was spent trying to shoulder the burden that you and the Phoenix and the Duchy foisted on him. That's why I became his shield. To help bear the weight. But what did you do? You betrayed your own blood and surrendered your son to his fate!
Best character. I'm going to go more into this later. Because, spoiler alert, it's all going to be on my list later.
Yeah, I think I know where it is, too.
Yes. If you haven't played Final Fantasy 16, Clive is the best new character and might be one of my favorites of all time in a franchise that is now gone for almost 40 games. He jumps so high on that list.
Is it really 40 games?
16 mainline games. There's so many spin-offs and different things. Yeah, it's over 40 at this point.
Holy God.
I've played 2.
And
I've played none.
And it's been going on as long as I have been alive.
Good Lord.
Longer, I think.
No, first game came out December 1987.
Oh, what the fuck?
I was 3 months old.
Well, damn.
So, yeah, as long as I've been alive. All right, Mason, what is the best character Bleepy for you?
Once again, and basically a 180 from that. When a franchise starts to go on longer than it should, the one thing that gets consistently worse with each movie is the villain. My Bleepy for the best character of the year comes from the poster child for franchises that go on for way too long. And yet, he somehow brought a new, palpable energy never before seen in this franchise's 10th, yes, 10th, numbered entry. And the Bleepy for Best Character goes to Dante Raines from Fast X.
Black on black look good. I know what you're thinking, and yes, carpet matches the drapes. Thank you. I can't believe I'm gonna race the great Dominic Toretto. I have butterflies. You're just so impressive. You've won so many races. Everyone loves you. You've saved so many lives. I know. It's like you're a saint. Saint Dominic. I've been studying you. I'm watching you. I can't figure it out. How? How do you choose? How do you choose the ones you save?
Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa's character,
And
yes.
the fact that the best thing about this is the fact that Vin Diesel hates that performance so much.
Yeah, but Vin Diesel's a fucking asshole.
And then he blames some of their
look.
lack of success on Momoa.
Look, Vin Diesel doesn't know a goddamn thing about his own franchise.
He really doesn't.
know a
He really
goddamn
doesn't.
thing.
I
He is-
love this.
I know he's trying to go like full dictator mode on this franchise. He doesn't know a goddamn thing about it. Like,
Jason Momoa has so much charm.
he's having so much fun in that movie.
Jason Momoa he's becoming sort of another The Rock, but in a better way, where he actually has some variety in the characters he plays. Where he just has such a huge amount of charm. It's very
and he's been
hard.
playing a lot of different characters throughout a lot of
Keep
it.
in mind, this year he returned as Aquaman and he was Dante in Fast X. Two wildly different characters.
And was Peacemaker at the beginning of this year, or was that at the end of last year?
That was the, I believe...
Because he has a cameo in Peacemaker,
Yeah,
and it is so good.
Beginning of this year, I believe. I could be wrong.
The Fast Chise up until this point was missing a lot of the fun. The stunts are all big and everything, and it's all like crazy and everything, but all of the characters are playing it 100% straight, and Dante isn't, and that's what makes him the best character of the year for me.
Considering that the majority of the villains have been really just overly serious, except for Charlize Theron's horrible hair in Fate of the Furious, they've all
Which
kind of been
somehow
played
got worse than F9.
super serious. And it is a movie franchise where they launched a car into space. It's okay
Yes.
to be a little wacky.
It's ironic that Fast X is probably one of my... No, because I hated Fate. It's on lower tier for me for Fast and Furious movies. Mm-hmm. But none of that is Jason Momoa's fault. In fact, he improves the movie.
He I was gonna say he fully carries that movie on his back. Man.
So, both Mason and I have picked new characters in long-running franchises.
We have.
All
I
right,
just
Thomas,
realized that.
what's your best character of 2023?
An old character in a long-running franchise.
Oh, well, you got one of them, right?
So, sometimes you fall out of something. Like, you are in love with it, but then just years and years of just, not for me. You just sort of lose interest. Mm-hmm. And it takes a lot for something to reignite my love. This year did that. This year reignited my love with one movie. It's not a good movie. I won't say it's a great movie. It's probably not even in people's top 20 of the year. But for me, it reignited my love for a franchise long since dormant. And the character most responsible for that and has bumped his way up into becoming one of my favorite characters of all time from everything he's in, not just this movie. It is Optimus Prime from Transformers Rise of the Beasts.
I've had enough, Time to show you the real power of the Prime!
I am always down for Optimus Prime receiving bleepies. Yeah. Just imagine. Well, are we talking? You could maybe hand it up, or maybe he goes small, like in Fortnite, so he can hand it at our level.
Bring him in like when he was on David Letterman.
Yeah, exactly.
And the great Peter Cullen back, and it seems like actually enjoying the role.
Yeah.
Which is something he hasn't in a lot of movies. He doesn't want anyone else to be Optimus Prime, so he keeps doing the movies. But it seems like he actually was like, oh, this is Optimus.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that fixes it for me. This one feels like Optimus. This is the first live-action Transformers movie since 1 to actually feel like Optimus. I mean, 3 is good for the most part, but then it has that "we'll kill them all" scene. It's like, Jesus Christ. And this is the first one in a while where, yes, Optimus is angry, but he's angry for a reason. He's angry because he's stranded on this planet. He's angry because his son is dead, basically. So he's just pissed off, and what really sealed the deal, it's not favorite performance of the year, because I've obviously given that already, but possibly my favorite delivery of the year does go to Peter Cullen, where he, as a savage motherfucker, cuts off the bad guy's arms, stabs a sword into his head, and goes, "I'll show you the real power of a Prime." And it's like, God damn, I love that scene.
I love Peter Cullen. I would let Peter Cullen read the dictionary to me. I would let him read the phone book to me. He can read any restaurant's menu to me, and I will give him a bleepy. He can have a bleepy. He is such a great voice.
And again, just when a character is good enough that it reignites my passion for a franchise, I've got to give him the award. Right there.
Yeah. I watched an award show that Peter Cullen was at. He was receiving an award, and I was watching him talking. I was like, holy crap, that's not a voice. He can just do that.
Yeah, that's
just
just his
sounds
voice.
like that.
Have you ever heard the behind the scenes of how he came up with the Optimus Prime voice? Because he had a slightly different voice, and then I don't remember if it was a friend or a relative who was in the military.
Yeah, it was his
brother who was like, no, it needs to have more authority. It needs to be more of this, and that's how he kind of developed and became the Optimus Prime voice.
Yeah,
because it is such a opposite of Frank Welker's Megatron that it is so perfect. And while, look, the old Transformer shows are really dumb and cheesy, and I love them, but those two voices alone carry it. And it's great that it feels like we're getting back to at least those characters in live action again, being more of themselves.
Once again, he's so good, he reignited my love for Transformers, and that's got to count for something.
We watched this live. We witnessed Thomas's passion, the flames behind Thomas's eyes reignite. We have given out 9 Bleepies so far. We still have 9 more to give out. So, our 4th category of the day. There is many times a moment in a movie or a game that just, it makes you realize, oh, I like this. Oh, this is why this is so good. Oh, I understand this movie, or I understand this game, or whatever it is. And so, our Bleepies, we're going to give out for Best Moment of 2023. All right, Mason.
Are you guys ready for the understatement of the century?
Sure.
The MCU is in a weird place right now.
Yes.
From the less than stellar box office performances to the absolute critical pummeling to everything in between, the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is uncertain at best and bleak at worst.
Critical pummeling, it's 50%, but...
Well, compared to what they had in the
It's
in
not
the
what
past.
Rebel Moon is getting right now.
That's fair. That is fair. But then along comes Mr. James Francis Gunn Jr., who showed us that no matter where the MCU might be in the future, it will always be able to produce some of the coolest moments in film history. My Bleepy for best/most impactful moment goes to the hallway fight scene from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
I'm done running.
As soon as you said MCU, I'm like, oh, it's the hallway.
There's so much in that one moment it's
gorgeous. It's gorgeously
like,
shot.
There were so many great moments in so many movies this year. None of them gave me hope, like that scene in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 did. None of them gave me hope for the future.
Yeah, it gave me hope that the DCU will be good.
Superman with James Gunn, gonna be something.
It's gonna be something.
But I mean, I'm gonna definitely be. I think I had the lowest review of Guardians Volume 3. It was fine, and I liked the hallway scene. I don't have it as high as you, obviously, but there's no denying how well that thing is shot.
Look,
how bonkers the action in it is.
I'm a absolute sucker for single take action scenes, and that one is like one of the best that I've seen. Admittedly, I haven't seen a lot.
A better one
But-
came out this year,
Yeah.
John Wick Chapter 4. But
I didn't.
But
It's one of those. It's one of those.
I'm trying not to shit on it.
In
Right,
the
right.
modern, yes, it's a one shot. In the same way that 1917's one shot. It is so.
Look, it fooled me. All right.
I mean, considering the amount of stuff they have to do, it's 90% of that shot is CGI. But
Look,
But
it's
still.
enough. It was enough to make like
we are not here to
fist
be
in the air in the theater.
to be
We're not here.
negative on the Bleepies. We are happy. So, James Gunn, congrats on your Bleepy and what you have done bringing us Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Probably the best trilogy of the MCU. Yes, the best
Yeah,
trilogy
yeah,
of the
I'll-
MCU.
I was going to say it's not hard.
I'll
But,
yeah.
I mean,
I'll agree with that.
Yeah, definitely the best trilogy of the MCU.
That'd have to be something to think on more, but like top of the brain, yeah, that's probably
Yeah.
one.
Congrats on your Bleepy, Mr. Gunn. All right, Thomas, what was your moment of 2023?
I don't know. Because
This is the one you were wrestling with.
this is the one that I'm wrestling with so much. Because I had it, I packaged it, and I sold it out, and then I was like, oh shit, bring it back. Because up until like literally the last moment, like last night, I had it set. I knew what I wanted. But then right last night, I thought of another moment, and I'm like, fuck me. So, but now I have to decide, do I count a moment that came out in 2022 but was animated in 2023? Or do I count something that came out fully in 2023?
I'd say the fully in 2023.
Cool.
Yeah, go with that one. I still want to
that's-
know what the other one
that's-
was, but go.
The other one was Gear 5.
Yeah.
Luffy going Gear 5 shook my fucking world, but that is an honorable mention. I love you, One Piece, with all my heart, but you're not my favorite franchise of all time. My favorite franchise of all time is what took it. It's Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic Frontiers DLC 3 came out this year. The Final Horizons, where Sonic has to train his hardest and perform and become Cyber Supersonic. That's what people are calling it. Some people just call it Supersonic 2.
The Super
And
Sonic.
the final moment, or the moment that made it to my list, was the final battle with the end in Sonic Frontiers Final Horizons.
Sonic, it's now or never! Sorry, Master King. Looks like I'm going all out after all.
Because I'm just gonna be blunt, it's fuck off anime as shit, and I loved it.
So, something we mentioned on a previous podcast that should have all aired by this point over on our Patreon, where we pitched our reboots. Sonic, when it's more anime, is rad as hell.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
specifically what does it is, you know what, I'm gonna be honest, it is probably because I am a Sonic hardcore fan. Will other people have the time? No. But there were three moments in this moment that made it
Within a moment, it's momentception.
that solidified it as, yes, this is mine of the year. One is one of the animations you can do when attacking the end, where Sonic crosses his arms, attacks the end without even moving them. You see a bunch of yellow lines come on screen, and the end falls and he looks back. It's like, that's dope as hell.
That's very anime.
Another one, he does a fucking JoJo pose, I swear to God, where the end blasts all these big asshole laser beams at him. He gets hit by a lot of them, absorbs the cyber energy, and then he just points at the end with a finger gun. He's like, you're next, asshole. And what did it for real was Eggman grabs the gun of the end, because the end has a big gun that's being used in the robot body, and aims it. And it's like, Sonic, get in there. You need to power this. And kind of something that's been going on throughout the final battle, I'm sorry, I'm going to talk about this for a bit,
Go for it.
is Sonic has been holding back, because they've been told, if you don't hold back, you will never be able to use this power again. So Sonic gets into the gun, and he's like, sorry, I gotta stop holding back. And he evolves, basically.
This isn't even my final form.
And it fires off. You see a bit of a hint of Fleetway Supersonic in there, which is so sick. And he kills the end, and oh my god, I geeked out like a motherfucker.
it's been something that we've been seeing a little bit more and more and more in anime, especially long-running anime series, is the, like, arch nemesis and the hero teaming up for something or having just brief moments where they have to work together to do something. And Sonic's no stranger to that.
I would like to say Dragon Ball ripped off Sonic this time because Sonic did it first in SA2, but anyway.
Awesome. I love that.
Very, very
That's-
awesome. Maybe one day I'll pick up Sonic Frontiers again. When it doesn't kick my ass.
They actually patched it to be easier. So.
Did they really?
It's a really
man.
fun game. I haven't played a ton of it, but it is really fun. It's a good Sonic game. I like good Sonic games.
Yeah.
Shocker to no one here.
I will say the final battle pissed me off because I didn't know what to do. Because I thought I did, and then I didn't, and then it turns out I did. I just fucked it up.
I hate when that happens. When you end up
Alrighty.
when you're doing the right thing and then you try to correct it.
Yeah.
My moment, and the bleepy that I'm going to give for, is a movie that we've already talked about once. We're going to talk about again. Godzilla destroys Gonza. Holy shit, guys. Holy shit. We have seen destruction from Godzilla before. Heck, Shin Godzilla showed it more as a horror movie and a lot of those aspects of it. But we've never seen it impact the people the way this scene does. Godzilla comes out of the sea. It's his first he's attacking the city. It's where our main character figures out, shit, he's attacking where my wife's working, or his love of his life. They're not technically married, but they're married. It's like, it's found they're attacking there. I need to go and save her. And she is on a rail car that gets picked up by Godzilla, falls out. He knocks over buildings. But then what makes this moment, and what literally had me just sitting in the theater, mouth wide open, just in awe of, they just did that, is the atomic breath.
Yep.
They've teased the atomic breath in the movie. We'd seen it kind of teased, but him powering up and shooting that out, destroying things, and then the blowback destruction that
It's like he coughed up a nuke.
it is unbelievable. The sound design, the soundtrack build up to that moment, and then the calm as afterwards standing there, and the horror of the whole what has just happened as our main character has survived, but nobody else around him seems to have been. The horror and him just breaking down, and then just that whole time in the background, Godzilla is just standing there, just overlooking all of it. Godzilla vs. humans is probably the best way to do Godzilla, making him not necessarily the end. He's the end. The thing that needs to be overcome in the movie. I love good team-ups. I love when Godzilla's protecting Earth. But I think at his best is when he is this just force of destruction that humanity doesn't know what to do with.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what this scene encapsulates. What I love so much about Godzilla all in one. And it is a moment that I will not forget. I will be thinking about for a long, long, long time.
Can't wait for Godzilla -2.
Godzilla 0.
Godzilla.
The bleepy has gone to Godzilla -1.
Are you-
Specifically
okay,
to
so-
Godzilla. Here you go.
So we've handed it up. We've handed it
handed
upwards to Optimus Prime and Godzilla.
Well, Godzilla's going to be a lot fucking harder. He's a lot bigger.
and
I'm
also
just
a
gonna-
lot less friendly.
I'm just going to put it right down here. Okay.
just gonna step on it.
All right.
I don't think he cares.
Our final two categories. We're to the point of any award show where we just are going to tell you what the best was. Mm-hmm. The best movie of the year. Thomas, what do you got?
Mine is not on the top 10 of anyone. It is not on a top 20 of anyone. Hell, I'd be surprised if it was in the top 30.
I would expect nothing less.
But,
At least you know.
sometimes you watch a movie and it just does everything you want. Everything that you've wanted in a movie for years, you're like, this is it, this is what I want. Even if that thing isn't necessarily good. but it does just everything you want. It appeals to you so much. And does it appeal to anyone else as much as me? Fuck no. But I cannot deny that Plane was my movie of the year.
If you do this, you'll probably never see your family again.
What about their families?
I have a daughter, and I had every intention of making it home. They're going to come at us with everything they've got.
We're getting off this island.
That's right.
Yep.
I forgot that was this year.
It was January.
First weekend or second weekend of the year?
Second weekend.
I love when a movie that comes out in the first or second weekend hits someone's top 10. That is always one of my favorites. I've had a couple times in the year where it's been like 2 or 3, and I'm like, nothing topped what I saw in the first couple of weekends.
I mean, I've also discovered this year my movie tastes fluctuate between 8-year-old child and dad.
And this one hit both.
Because for a while, my movie of the year was actually Air. Because I adored Air.
It's a good movie.
But then I watched Air, but then I thought about it, and I'm like, was it Air itself, or was it just that Matt Damon speech that did it?
The well-written Ben Affleck, Matt Damon written speech. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Which was a runner-up for moment of the year for me. Then I thought about it, and I'm like, no, Plane just did everything I want. Now, what I want is a shitty 80s canon film. But it's what it gave me. And again, is this on anyone's top 30? Fuck.
I'd be surprised if anybody making those lists were remembered that Plane happened this year.
Yeah, and you know
But
what?
the important thing is, we remember, and the Bleepy has gone to it. The Bleepy has gone to Plane. Gerard Butler, you've done it. You've finally done it.
You didn't get ass in your eyes for nothing, man.
All right.
Man, poor Gerard.
This is great coming into my movie because I just waxed poetic about it. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time. My Bleepy is going to Godzilla -1.
I was going to say, what a shock.
It is the best movie of the year. It is a movie that I sat mouth agape so many times. I applauded a movie at the end of it. Did absolutely everything. Are there nonsensical things in it? Yeah. Are there things that you're like, wow, in a lot of other movies, I might be a little harsher on this, but they're all earned. We talked about the wife surviving. It was earned. It needed to happen. It is a movie that it hit every emotion that I needed, everything I wanted. Godzilla -1 is just so freaking good. And it was kind of awesome that Thomas's movie came out in January and the whole year waiting for something to maybe top it. And for me, my movie for a good chunk of the year, obviously it came out in the middle of the year, was Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. That was my number one. And then
right at
the beginning of December,
out of
that
nowhere.
changed.
Fun fact, that's basically what happened to me last year. Because for the entire year, my top movie was The Batman. And then in December, Puss in Boots came out. I was like,
and
fuck.
Puss in Boots was a Christmas release, so like
it was literally the end of
Puss in Boots and Plane were like 2 weeks apart.
I know, that was the happiest time of my life.
All right, Mason, movie of the year.
Okay, both of these guys already know what my movie of the year is. I'm not gonna do any build-up about like the movie itself, but I do want to talk about the development of the movie, because I think that the way that this movie even happened is just as important, and if not more important, than the movie itself. So I want us to take our minds back in time, only a couple of years, to 2019. When Disney acquired 20th Century Fox in March of 2019, they also acquired their animation subsidiary, Blue Sky Studios. At the time, Blue Sky was set to release their first film after the acquisition, Spies in Disguise, and were also working on another film on the side. After Spies in Disguise released, it became the lowest-grossing Blue Sky movie, which is very unfortunate because I really like that movie.
I do. I like Spies in Disguise a lot. I think it, unfortunately, this is just sorry to interrupt there. Unfortunately, with Spies in Disguise, it did hit at the end of 2019.
It did.
What happened at the beginning of 2020? The whole world shut down. It didn't quite get as bad as, say, Onward, which came out the week before everything shut down.
In March.
Which got destroyed because of that, but I think there is some effect there in that.
Right. But after Spies in Disguise released and became the lowest grossing Blue Sky movie, Disney permanently closed their doors, canceling the movie that they were releasing next, that according to one animator was very, very close to being finished. After the studio closure, Annapurna Studios brought on DNEG Animation to finish the movie, which was then able to find a second life on Netflix, becoming my all-time favorite movie of the year in the process. The Bleepy for Best Movie of the Year, for me, goes to Nimona.
The Queen Killer is still out there.
Everyone is scared. He's a murderer.
He's a monster.
He's perfect. Hey, boss.
Who are you?
The name's Nimona. Your sidekick has arrived.
I don't need a sidekick.
Every villain needs a sidekick.
I'm not a villain.
I think we all kind of knew each other's top movies of the year because, we talk a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's the one.
I unfortunately have not yet caught Nimona. I know Thomas has and says it's good, so...
It's good. I obviously don't love it as much as Mason, but it's good.
I've heard nothing but good things about it, though, so I imagine I will at least find enjoyment in it.
And the thing is, Nimona, it's not a perfect movie, but it's a victim of its circumstance. It went through development hell. Like the movie was being worked on since 2015. It went through so much, and so it's going to come out a little bit rough. And I rewatched it recently, this month, I believe. And I hate rewatching movies that I really love because my brain does this thing where it starts to try to pick out faults in it. You know what I mean? And so rewatching it the second time, I was kind of like, yeah, the animation isn't great. A lot of the textures are very basic. But then again, one of my all-time favorite animated movies is The Last Unicorn, which, man, that's some rough animation. So I can excuse that, and there's a lot of things about this movie that I can excuse because the story is told so well. I'm trying to think of the word, the setting, the environment is so well realized and original, and the performances and the characters are all so well, and I could gush about this movie like I am now for hours. I love it so much. And I'm so happy that it was able to be put out into the world.
Yeah, I'm going to take a guess and say, I don't know for certain, but I'm going to take a guess and say Sean will like it more than I did. It's not that I hated it.
Probably.
I just... I watched it and I was like, it's good.
One of those that it was good for you, but you didn't necessarily it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I need to rewatch this a bunch, like Plane.
Yeah.
Right, because I have shit taste.
No, this is awesome. I think
most of my favorite movies are 3-star movies, if we're being honest.
I think the fact that three movies here picked, given Bleepies for this year, all of them being very different, very unique, and probably none of them are going to receive awards anywhere else.
Fuck no.
Yeah, which is a shame.
So we here at the Bleepies are here to represent the underrepresented.
The underdogs.
I mean, the only one I can see winning is maybe Godzilla -1 takes visuals.
It might get something, but even then, it might win foreign film. That's a possibility, but there's also 2 or 3 other foreign films that are more Oscar baity, so we'll see.
I mean, completely off topic. I know Mason wants Nimona for Best Animated Feature. I want Boy and the Heron to win so bad. I haven't even seen it. I just like the idea of a 2D animated movie winning in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because the
what,
last Miyazaki film, Wind Rises, didn't win. It did not. Because I think the only one he's won is Spirited Away.
Spirited Away, yeah.
So it would be awesome to see a 2D animated win. All right, our final category as we wrap up our first annual Bleepies. And this is a big one. Because this is what we do here on this podcast more than anything.
Yes.
We talk vid games.
Which is interesting that we haven't that a lot.
Very.
You've brought up a game in your list.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas, did you?
Sonic Frontiers.
Oh, that's right.
We've had 2.
You did.
We've had 2 big ones.
I haven't brought one.
So I will lead off because I've already kind of tipped my hand what my best game of the year is. The Bleepy is going to Final Fantasy 16.
The truth of it now. You are not afraid. I am.
I could have legitimately gone down 5 of the 6 categories here. Wouldn't have gone best movie, obviously, and I could have given it to Final Fantasy 16.
The best movie is the YouTube compilation of the Final Fantasy 16 cutscenes.
But I understand there are people out there that didn't love it. There are a lot of different complaints. There are traditionalist fans who don't love it. There are new fans who didn't love it. There are younger kids who didn't like the more mature tone. Everything about this game did everything I wanted. I prefer the slower RPGs. My favorite in the franchise is Final Fantasy X. It is a slow button push. Okay. Button push. Okay. Button push. Turn order, sort of thing. But an action game it still has plenty of RPG elements in it, with a just incredible story, breathtaking soundtrack, and a performance from Ben Starr as Clive that is just so good and more or less created a star in the industry. Mm-hmm. That, while he didn't win the Game Awards, he was nominated for best performance.
Because he was who Sean wanted to win.
He has kind of become an online star, somebody who just people now know, and that it's awesome to take somebody who was just this unknown person to get this recognition. The fact that it hits on so many of the themes that I love, on redemption, on revenge. It does something that so few things does. It lets someone get revenge. And when anybody says, no, you need revenge. You need to finish this. Otherwise, you will not be able to actually help us because this things. And it lets a woman get her revenge on her attacker. Lets her stab him in the... It's so good. It has so many moments. It has so much. It's the best game of the year. I love it. The Bleepy has gone to Final Fantasy 16. Who could have predicted it?
And when I get through Final Fantasy 1 through 15, I'll be right there with you.
I mean, you could just start on any of them. They don't tie together.
Why are there so many?
Because they're amazing.
It's a series.
Why are you surprised?
Mason, you gave a Fast and Furious a bit of award. There's so many of them.
Fair enough.
Anyway, Mason, what are you giving the Bleepy for best game?
At my co-host's recommendation, request? We'll say recommendation. At my co-host's recommendation, I recently watched the first 3 Die Hard movies. What makes John McClane one of the best action heroes is that he doesn't become one by choice. He gets thrusted into a situation and gets the job done. It's no coincidence that my game of the year has a protagonist that perfectly mirrors the John McClane style action hero. The Bleepy Award for Best Video Game, for me, goes to the Dead Space remake.
It's me. It's all falling apart here.
Hey, Isaac. You coming?
Where is everybody?
Up there!
Nice. A game that we haven't mentioned much on this, so this is cool.
Yeah, it was really interesting because I never played any of the Dead Space games before. I don't really play horror games because I don't like being scared. I mean, we'll just say it how it is. I felt like I needed to play a game from 2023 because I hadn't really done that yet. And
Mason is perpetually 4 or 5 years behind on video games, perpetually. So
Yes.
He'll get into all the 2023 games in 2028.
Yes.
And then he'll come back and be like, guys, did you know that Spider-Man 2 was awesome? Hey, this Alan Wake 2 sounds really good. Baldur's Gate 3, did you know this was a thing?
This was a game? This is amazing. Why didn't anybody tell me? It did honestly come from a place of like I didn't want to come on here and say that my game of the year was Forza Motorsport, which wouldn't even really be true even if it was the only game I played this year because it's kind of disappointing. But it honestly, even if I did play other games from this year, I still think this would because the level of atmosphere in this game and it's the way that it plays with you in a way and like the tone that it sets, and it's just, again, I'm gushing about this game because it's just so good.
You know, in a year where there is a remake that's gotten a lot of love, it's fun that you went with a different one. Resident Evil 4.
Oh, that's right. Resident Evil 4.
It's fun that you found a remake that was different. I love remakes. Look, some of our entire foundation of this podcast is remakes. So.
Yeah.
Not wrong.
You're not wrong there.
But awesome. So far, Final Fantasy 16 and Dead Space Remake have gotten a Bleepy. Thomas, what is the final Bleepy of the night going to?
So, for a while, my game of the year was unironically RoboCop Rogue City. Because I played that game and I was like, what the fuck, why is it good?
We call that pulling a Wonka.
Yeah, but...
Considering some of the really bad RoboCop games that have come out over the year, it is awesome that there's a good one.
But then I started playing another game. It was on sale, and I was like, whatever, I liked the first one of this series, let me try this one. And it started kind of balancing. I'm like, is this my game of the year? Because I really like it, but no, RoboCop still beats it. Around the third act, well, let's put it, the fourth quarter of the game, it's really started solidifying it. No, this is it. This is my game of the year. And it's ironic that the last Bleepy combines the swords of Sean with the sci-fi of Mason, my game of the year, Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Thanks, Bode. Part of the job, Gustus. The Jedi is a threat. Not now that we have this. As long as we fight. Hope survives.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's... Unfortunately, I have not played the Survivor yet. I still need to beat Fallen Order.
I still need to beat Fallen Order.
I played quite a bit of Fallen Order. I played about 10 hours of it, but I didn't actually finish it. And as the Star Wars guy, it's kind of sad that I haven't. But everything I've seen, it seems like Jedi Survivor is just awesome.
Jedi Survivor.
And it kind of got forgotten. It's fun that Thomas's two game and movie are first quarter games and movies this year.
Yeah, but it all peaked at the beginning.
All downhill from there.
For me, one of the reasons I love movement in games. It's one of the reasons I love platformers so much. When a game can give me just great feeling movement, that just scratches an itch for me. And Jedi Survivor does that. Between the wall running, you get an ability later to dash. You get an ability to dash through force fields, which regenerates your dash. You get an ability to dash through fucking wind currents. On top of just the ever-satisfying combat, the fact that this stoic Jedi survivor can pull out their piece, which will never not make me laugh. And yes, that was the blaster formation was the main one I used. It was that and crossguard were my main ones throughout the whole game. But on top of that, I am not the biggest Star Wars fan. Sean's the Star Wars fan here. I like it, but it's not like one of my favorite things. This didn't reignite the passion like, Transformers did for me because, again, I have shit taste. But playing this and I'm like, oh, this is really good. Especially near the end, the story elements that came in, I was like, oh, this is really fucking good. Like, damn.
It's always great when there's a reminder when you're like, oh, yeah. Star Wars can tell really good stories. They can tell really good stories. It was very similar watching Ahsoka this year. I was like, oh, right. Star Wars stories are good when they're good.
It also has several moments that almost were my moment of the year. One specifically I won't give away, but there is a part where Cal is surrounded, he's pissed off, and you get a button prompt, and that button prompt alone, I was like, fuck. It shows how strong it is, because Cal Kestis is my favorite Star Wars character.
Cameron Monaghan deserves a lot of credit. And we talked about it a bit in the Game Awards when we were live streaming that, but he's definitely one that just kind of like, the performance maybe got a little forgotten because of all the great performances in video games afterwards, but he is so good as Cal. He is so good. And the fact that he could easily transition if they wanted to make any show or animation, and he could still be that character.
Because the dude looks
at
like
any
Cal.
point. It is such a great performance that has kind of got overlooked over the years because he was great in Fallen Order, and everything that you see in this one, he is so good as that.
Yeah. Plus, you can give him a headband and a beard and pretend it's a Metal Gear Solid spinoff.
What we do on this podcast and why we are giving out Bleepies is we will look at these things later, and things that maybe are undervalued or underappreciated, we will find them.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting when we do more Star Wars stuff, because Sean's the lover, and I like half of the movies.
Yep. But thank you all for listening to our first award show. We hope to make this a yearly tradition. We hope that we can keep doing this and keep bringing, Bleepies to you. If you have, in these categories, something that you had, a moment, a character, a movie, a game, a performance, a soundtrack that stuck out that we didn't say, drop us an email, bleepyouplaying@gmail.com. We would love to hear it. Heck, we might even have an extra episode at some point where we read some of these and talk about what other people have said. Let us know. Or, subscribe over to our Patreon. We have a lot of stuff coming out. So much stuff coming out. We are really excited to bring you a lot of new, different, and weird and fun things over this next year. But 2023 was a year of growth, and we're happy where we're going, and we're going to keep doing that.
2024 is going to get crazy.
So you guys have a great night.
This party's getting started.
And we'll be back next time. Burn it.